Right. Sam Ngovo from Roysambu, thank you very much for tuning in to KUTV's Rise today. Continue that conversation, but remember, if we are on the launch, this is the time that we get to discuss matters business and understand how the numbers are and how the environment is in the country for especially for the youth who are the greatest job seekers in this particular economy. Charlotte, welcome to KUTV.
Hello, Richard, and happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You have thrown me off guard. I had not expected to receive that. Right. How do I get your name right?
So you can say Charlotte de Ridder.
All right.
Well, if that's too complicated, you can also just call me Charlie. For
Charlie.
some people, that's easier.
Right. I'll make this friendly, so I'll call you Charlie.
Right.
Welcome to that, Charlie. Talking about getting matters right, what is the thing that you can say you are getting right at USUD?
I think the thing we are getting right at USUD is being very market-driven. So we don't say that we have created an organization 5 years ago and therefore that has to be the same organization right now. The way that we look at it is like we look at what is the data that employers give us, what is the data that we get from the market, and based on that we shift our training, we shift the opportunities that we give to youth.
How do you get this data?
So we have a training program, and after the training program, people get placed into job opportunities.
Right.
And so we are very closely in touch with employers all the time because our graduates are placed into employment opportunities. We have a sales team that reaches out to employers and gathers data from them and understands what are the kind of needs that they have, what are the skills that they see that they lack. And so we constantly get feedback from the employers that we work with and employers that are looking for people on what is it that they are missing when they're trying to hire.
Right, so you are a foreign founder in a local environment. How do you ensure that your solutions are well tailored for the environment in the country?
Make them data-driven, and the data doesn't come from me, it comes from my team and the market that's out there. We are a fully local team, and I'm really proud of that, and
right.
They know more about the market than I do. Right. So when it comes to what the young people want, my team is very young. They're all in their 20s. Yeah, exactly. They about more than half of them are graduates from our own program.
Oh, okay.
So they know what they've been through. They know the experience of graduating from university.
So you do train people and still hire them?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So you concentrate on sales skills.
Yes, we do.
Why exactly did you decide to go into that specific sector?
So we started USUD with more general skills. We used to train more in general soft skills, and so people had that in addition to the skills they already had. And never technical skill sets. We don't focus that much on placing people into technical jobs. And what we realized is that the majority of businesses, looking at the data again, the majority of businesses were actually hiring for sales positions. And so we thought instead of giving people soft skills and then they get into sales positions but they don't know about sales because there's not a single university that trains people in sales skills. Right. We said let's focus more on sales skills. The other thing with sales skills is that they're incredibly transferable. So when you learn how to sell, you learn how to negotiate, you learn how to position yourself positively, and you learn how to ask questions, how to listen. And we realize that those skills are skills that you need if you want to find a job, you need if you want to get a promotion. So at the end of the day, if you become a really good salesperson, that just benefits you for your career in the long term.
Right. So in a short elevator pitch, what would you say to a normal Kenyan who's a boda rider who wants to know what USUD does? What would you say USUD does?
So USUD is a training program that helps you get the sales skills that you need to be able to start your career and grow your career successfully.
Right. What is the business model at USUD? Is there a lifetime agreement between USUD and the people that you train, or is there a time that you let them go and become separate entities?
Well, so we have our contract is set in a person joins a training program, right. And then when they pass the training program and they perform well, which is a lot based on attitude, it's all about the attitude of a person, then we help them find a job and we get them into at least a 6 months probation period for a job. And when that happens, if they perform well again, then they get an offer letter from the employer most of the time. Right. Our goal is to become a lifelong partner. Right. So we have a community of alumni, and the idea is imagine you get your first job through USUD, but then 2 years years later, you decide, I want to shift career. You can come back to Yasudi and now we can help you find another job. Or imagine you start a company after and you want to hire people. You can hire through Yasudi and get Yasudi graduates to join. So the idea is like we're building it over time. It's some progress. Right now we have alumni from 4 years ago. Right. But as we grow, it's how do we build a community that comes and that helps you with your career for the rest of your life.
Are you only in Kenya or are you spread out other countries as well?
We're only in Kenya at the moment. Right. We are currently virtual, which is one of the consequences of COVID. And so we've had people join us from Uganda, from Rwanda, that just said, wow, now it's accessible to us. So how about we just join?
So the COVID-19 pandemic, you can say, has also transformed your business.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yes.
How would you say that is? Just a short digression.
Yeah, so, well, we got rid of our offices because we said, okay, we don't need offices right now, and we don't know how long this is going to be. So all of Yasudi's staff is working from home. But also one of the biggest shifts has been we used to do in-person trainings, and we said, okay, like we don't want to bring our students and our employers into that kind of risk. Right. So we want to shift completely online.
And that's very responsible of you.
Yeah, I think that's really important. At the end of the day, we don't just train people, we care about them as human beings. And for us, some people that come in and risk their lives, it's not worth it.
Right,
you know?
And it's important that you've mentioned considering them as human beings. There are cases of agencies such as yourself, trainees get job opportunities, and then the working conditions in the companies or the organizations that they're taken to aren't favorable for them. So we have cases of delayed payments, mistreatment of employees. Does Yasudi have a responsibility in ensuring that the trainees, after they've been released to these companies, are having a good environment to work in?
Yeah. So I think as an expectation, it's really hard to know before a person comes and joins a company how the company is going to be. We do as much due diligence as we can, but it does happen. Just like in reality, when you find a job, you might not know what you get into until it's there, even if you ask all the questions. But what's really important for us, and we have a team of coaches allocated to that, is that we become a voice for the young person that's placed into the company. And so we are a bridge between them and the management of that company. And so when they give us feedback about poor working conditions or people aren't being paid or the payments are delayed, we push on our side to advocate for them to have a better work environment. Right. So instead of being a young person that doesn't have, kind of feels alone into a new job, especially when it's your first job, it can be very hard to know what is all right. Like, is this just normal? Is just how work is supposed to be? Like, I'm not feel like I'm treated well, but maybe that's just how it is. Right. We provide that kind of like that bridge between that and kind of say, no, this is not how it's supposed to be, and we'll help you understand. And if really things don't go right, we just pull the person out of the placement and find them a new job.
That is impressive to hear. All right, so what is the pool of applicants that you take? Someone, you say you train people for sales skills. Yeah. Someone who's watching me right now who is I love using Boda Boda riders. Who is a Boda Boda rider and doesn't even know how Yasudi will help them? So how will it help them, and what is the pool of applicants that you take?
Yeah, so we don't have criteria when it comes to a degree background or anything, so it can be anybody can apply. But we do have an assessment process because we know that we train people for 6 weeks, and we know there's things that we can't train in 6 weeks. And in that sense, we require people to have the ability to write and read and speak English, because the majority of jobs that we place people in require them to do that.
So it's low entry-level jobs mostly.
It's low entry-level jobs.
Right, yeah. And that is good. So how long do applicants have to wait before the application process goes through and become trainees with you?
So the average is about a week or 2 weeks. Or we have a training starting every 3 weeks. And we did that because we focus on smaller cohorts so that we can really work on the behavior change, the kind of attitude development, the skills development, and the coaching, rather than having really big classes where it doesn't feel as individualized. So we have cohorts every 3 weeks. So if you apply, you could come and join us in 3 weeks' time.
All right, that is good. So would you classify Yasudi as a business outsourcing company, and why or why not would you say that?
Yes, I would. But the reason, and this is also actually a consequence of COVID. So we realized that, and you mentioned that when you were talking about youth employment, the youth unemployment levels have increased dramatically. And that is because a lot of people have been let go in general in the market, but also a lot less employers are willing to hire because of kind of the risk. There's a lot more like, we want to keep the money close, but employers still are looking for sales because the only way that a company can survive is by having sales. So we realized that less employers are hiring, however, more employers still want to grow their sales. How can we provide a service that will enable employers to keep growing their sales without taking the risk of hiring somebody? And so what we started offering as a service for employers is that we actually hire people internally and then allocate them to clients that want them to sell for those clients. And that means that some of the graduates of our program are going to be placed directly in companies, and some of the graduates of our program are going to be placed within Yosudi, so our company, and sell for third parties.
Right.
And by doing that, that enabled us to keep employing people and giving them job opportunities, even if the market is worse than it was before.
Process.
Exactly.
Right. So would you recommend that someone goes through an agency from an unbiased point of view, of course? Would you recommend that someone goes through an agency to look for jobs, or generally now, not even particularly for like the sales skills that you train people for? If I was looking for a job as a news presenter, would you have me go through an agency, or would you have me go in person?
Yeah, it depends. I think it's about self-awareness. So I think agencies fit for some people and don't fit for others. I think like the key kind of things that are needed to be able to find a job is honestly a network, knowing people. Like the majority of jobs aren't publicly available. It's just, do you know somebody that fits this profile? So it's all about having a network, and it's about having the skills to sell yourself, right? And if you come out of university, or if you're looking for a job and you don't know anybody, and you also don't really know how to sell yourself, then you have a really, really low chance of finding a job. That's just how it is.
Right, so you've explained to me how you go through the process of getting applicants for your trainee program. How do you verify, or how do you go about in the selection criteria for the companies that you take this trainees to?
So we have a sales team that reaches out to them, and we ask them questions. So for example, to ensure not all company can manage entry-level staff well and give good experiences, it's often linked to the capacity of the company. So what we realized is that to be an entry-level person and for them to grow really well, they need to have management that can actually work with them in the company. So we'll ask questions to the employers that we work with to understand, does their profile fit? Is it like, do they have more than 3 to 4 employees? Do they have enough revenue that enables them to pay, and that we know they'll pay on time for the salaries?
Right.
And so
it's a very thorough process.
It's a vetting process, and we have a ranking of companies that we are just like, this is a type of company we wouldn't work with, and if we have a bad experience with a company, we won't work with them again.
Does this affect, this is on a side note, does this affect how these companies work with you when they see that you have a ranking list for the company that you work with?
Well, it's on both sides, right? Like, we don't officially say we have a ranking list and we are putting you on the list or not, but regardless of that, like, we don't want to give them a bad experience either. Right. So it works like if we kind of look at the employer and say, we want you to be ready to take on an entry-level person. If not, you're going to be disappointed. Right. Because you know, like, this is something that goes round and round and round of employers saying the entry-level people that we hire are half-baked. Right. You know, they are not skilled enough, they're not well. And my reality, my response to that is, yes, that's partly true. There's some skills that are missing in terms of soft skills. But on the other hand, you can't expect an entry-level person to do the job of somebody that has 5 years of work experience. Right. You need to support them. You need to grow them. Exactly. Right. You should look at attitude. You should look at potential and say, this person has the right attitude, has the right potential, has a base of skill that I can groom them to be a better employee. Right. But if you come in and you just started your own company and it's your number 2, you're hiring your number 2, you don't have time as an owner to train that person, which is why an entry-level person isn't the right person for you. Right. And that's what we're trying to do. It will give the entry-level person a bad experience, and you as an owner a bad experience as well, because you'll be like, again, entry-level people aren't good. And it's just creating a bad brand for entry-level employees.
Definitely. So why the name Yosudi?
So Kusudi, which stands with intention and purpose in Swahili, and Y is for youth. And our goal is, how is it that we help youth have intention and build their purpose to grow their careers.
And in helping them build their purpose and also develop these labor market relevant skills, you definitely have experience in doing this. You have worked in the UK, you have worked in Mexico, you are working in Kenya. So how would you say this all ties into what you do at Yosudi?
My whole career has been about youth development, and I mean, I'm also still a young person.
Right.
I'm still in my 20s, so like I kind of a big foundation of building Yusudi was to give people like me the opportunity to go through it. I just decided to start my own company because I didn't want to find a job. so it's kind of I have a lot of experience in training and development of young people through ISEC, which is a youth organization that I worked for for many years while I was in university.
Right.
And I just realized how big of a difference that makes.
Right.
And how, in a sense, I want to advocate for the education system to become better and to do that. At the end of the day, if we didn't have to exist anymore because the education system is so good, then we're in a really great place.
Right.
You know?
All right. So I was looking through your LinkedIn. I'm amazed by how decorated it is. I wish to get to where your LinkedIn is right now. You are an Acumen Fellow. Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah. So the Acumen Fellowship is a program that you can apply if you are a social entrepreneur or a change maker in your community. And the goal is how to get change makers to come together and train them into growing their skill sets to really make impact at scale. And so you come together with people that are like-minded, but within the East Africa community. So there's representatives of Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Rwanda, that are incredible. People that run NGOs, that are decision makers in NGOs, in social enterprises, and really care about making a change in the world on a social level.
All right. So maybe in your last words, in the period that you've worked in Kenya, I would love you to tell us what you feel is the environment looks like for the youth, especially in this period where as we discussed, there's been a dramatic increase of unemployment, especially among the ages of 20 to 29. So in your last statements, I would love you to tell us how you feel the environment is, and maybe your last words from UCD on that camera, and where they can find you if someone wants to be trained for this sales skills, and what they can do in terms of unemployment in the country.
Great. So I think in terms of my last words, what I would say is that there's never a good time to find a job, to be fair. Like, there's always going to be obstacles in the way, and it's about doing everything you can to make yourself stand out. Richard was talking about the quality of my LinkedIn. Just improve your LinkedIn.
Yes.
Go online, find people, build a network. There are jobs available. At the end of the day, there are, and you are competing. And so the question is, how do you make yourself stand out? And that means being very, very deliberate about what you spend your time doing. So that's kind of my advice for young people that are trying to find work. And to find Yusudi, so our next cohort is starting at the end of September, and we'd love to have you if you want to develop your sales skills and grow your sales career as an entry path into your career. And you can find us on www.usudi.co. And also you can send an email to info@usudi.co as well if you have any questions.
Right. Youth and Husudi?
Yusudi.
Makes Yusudi, right.
Yes.
So for someone who's set themselves out, according to your LinkedIn, you've set yourself out to help youth access decent work, and the advice to you is for you to stand out. Go through her LinkedIn and reach out to Yusudi if you are someone who would love to get those relevant skills for the job market. I'll be back in a short while to close Biashara Tuesday, but of course we will be looking at one more woman in business, that is the new BAT chair, Rita Kavashe. Stay tuned to KUTV's Rise Today. I'll be reading your feedback when I'm back.